I remember thinking the night felt almost too ordinary for an anniversary. There was no big dinner reservation, no dramatic surprise waiting on the table, just the quiet rhythm of our apartment and the soft hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen. After 10 years together, celebrations had become smaller, calmer. At least that's what I told myself. She said she had to work late. That wasn't unusual. Her office had been pushing deadlines for weeks, and I had grown used to dinners happening later than planned. Still, there was a small hesitation in her voice when she left that morning. I noticed it then, but like so many other moments over the past year, I let it pass. You can ignore a lot of things when you want stability more than answers. Around 9 that night, my phone buzzed. A message from her. "I'm home." I stared at the screen for a moment, confused. I was sitting on our couch. The apartment was quiet. The hallway light was off. Her shoes weren't by the door. I typed back slowly. "Home?" 3 dots appeared, then disappeared. A minute later, another message came. "Sorry, meant almost home." The explanation was simple, reasonable. The kind of small mistake anyone could make. But something about it lingered in my mind longer than it should have. Maybe because it wasn't the first small inconsistency I'd noticed, just the first one that felt impossible to ignore. I tried to return to what I was doing, but the apartment suddenly felt different. Too quiet, too still. After another 20 minutes passed without hearing from her again, I grabbed my jacket and stepped outside. I didn't have a plan. I told myself I just needed some air. The streets were mostly empty, the kind of calm weekday quiet that settles into neighborhoods after restaurants close. I walked slowly, hands in my pockets, thinking about how strange it was that one misplaced text could change the atmosphere of an entire evening. Halfway down the block, I saw her car, parked along the curb near the small wine bar on the corner. My first instinct was relief. Maybe she had stopped for something on the way home. Maybe she was picking up a bottle to surprise me. But as I walked closer, I saw them through the front window. They weren't doing anything dramatic. No argument, no scene. Just standing near the bar, talking. Too close. Close in the quiet. Comfortable way people stand when they don't think anyone is watching. She was smiling in a way I hadn't seen in months. I stayed across the street. For a long time, actually. There was no surge of anger like people describe in movies. No sudden confrontation forming in my mind. Instead, the feeling was strangely calm, like a puzzle piece finally sliding into place. The late meetings, the distracted conversations, the growing distance I kept explaining away as stress. From the outside, the situation looked almost ordinary. Eventually, they walked out together. He said something that made her laugh. Then they hugged briefly before he headed down the street. She stood there for a moment before getting into her car. I turned and walked back home. By the time she arrived 20 minutes later, I was sitting in the same spot on the couch. "Hey," she said casually, hanging her coat by the door. "Sorry I'm late. Work was insane today." I watched her carefully as she spoke. The tone of her voice was smooth, practiced, the way someone talks when they believe the story is simple and safe. She walked into the kitchen and noticed the untouched dinner. "Oh no," she said. "Did you wait for me?" I shrugged slightly. "It's our anniversary." For a second she froze. Then she smiled softly, stepping closer and placing a hand on my shoulder. "I know," she said. "That's why I wanted to get home as soon as I could." The sentence hung in the air between us. My phone buzzed again on the table. Neither of us expected it. She glanced down instinctively when the screen lit up. A name appeared. The same man I had seen through the wine bar window. His message preview was short and careless. "Did you get home safe?" Silence filled the room. Her hand slowly slid off my shoulder. She picked up the phone and stared at the screen like it might disappear. If she waited long enough, I didn't say anything. For the first time in a long while, there was nothing left to interpret, nothing to question. The truth had stepped into the room on its own. She opened her mouth like she might explain something, then closed it again. We stood there across from each other in the quiet apartment. The anniversary dinner untouched on the table. What surprised me most wasn't the betrayal. It was the strange clarity that followed. For months, maybe longer, I had been trying to hold together a version of our marriage that no longer existed. Now I didn't have to pretend anymore. And for the first time that night, the silence in the room didn't feel heavy. It felt honest.